guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
All right, boys. Time for some Mackey and Judd statements here, and maybe some questions as well. Presented in part by Legit Pizza. Here's a statement. Legit Pizza lives up to its name. It's the best frozen pizza on the market these days. And you can find it. Someone else, again, this weekend tweeted a photo of the old Legit Pizza debut in their house. That throwback style, those pizza parlor vibes, stone-baked cracker-thin crust. If you haven't dabbled in a legit frozen pizza yet, your life is incomplete. You are probably wandering around, wondering what's missing in your life. It might be Legit Pizza. You can have an authentic at-home pizza parlor experience, and you can tell us how much you enjoyed it, hopefully. So, boys, I'm going to give you the first statement here. The national basketball media is going through it the last couple days, trying to figure out what happened to the Lakers. So I've spent some time the last couple days just sort of curiously combing through TV shows, podcasts, just getting the national flavor. I will say pretty regularly, Zach Lowe has his finger on the pulse of what's actually happening in these basketball series because he does the most work, X's and O's, talking to people around the league. So I think he's like the least surprised about the Wolves being up 3-1 among the national media. But get up on ESPN this morning again. So Greeny's leading the charge. Our guy Greeny, he's got Jay Will, another friend of the show, and Boozer and Monica McNutt. The big NBA panel is up there, and the question on the screen for 15 minutes was who's to blame for the Lakers being down 3-1 in the series, and they spent time trying to blame JJ Redick for playing his 5-man rotation for all 24 minutes in the second half, blaming Luka Doncic for being out of shape, blaming LeBron James for a bad inbound pass, zero mention of the actual reason why they're down 3-1, which is the Minnesota Timberwolves have been better since the Luka trade, are better, etc. Our guy Skip Bayless was tweeting through it. This is during the game. He tweeted, this is why you don't tweet during games, folks. The algorithm will pop that tweet back up for you to get dunked on. This game is over, all capital letters. Lakers just want it more than the T-Wolves do. Lakers are just a little better. Wolves are happy to go back to LA 2-2. Lakers will win game 5 pretty easily. Then we'll see if Ant-Man feels like going back to LA for a game 7. Then about an hour later, old Skip tweeted, the whole thing is now in all caps. He's gone from like selective words in all caps to now the whole tweet's in all caps. I cannot believe LeBron James and Luka Doncic are now down 3-1 to the Timberwolves. I can't help it. I'm about to unleash a video about what I just witnessed. And then Nick Wright, one of the best in the business, super entertaining, really smart guy in the industry, but he has a LeBron James blind spot. And he spent the first 20 minutes of his podcast yesterday just trying to figure out, how is this possible? How is this possible? How and why? So the national media is aggressively going through it, is my first statement to you guys.
I think there are a handful, if that, of people that get it, and that's it. Zach Lowe is one. Kendrick Perkins is one. Kendrick Perkins is spitting truths.
Big Wolves fan, yeah.
Yeah, it's spitting truths. But here's where the negligence of their statements is just so obvious, is that this is not new. Ant helped the Wolves, played a huge role, and the Wolves got through the first round and the second round of the playoffs last year. So this is not like a new team that just popped up and was a non-playoff team. That's what's I feel like some of it, I feel like the Greeny thing, for instance, the ESPN thing is talking points from producers because they are so desperately want it to be, it can't just be Wolves, Lakers, let's talk about the Wolves. It needs to be, let's talk about the Lakers because that's going to get the ratings and the eyeballs, right? So like if they deviate and go to, let's just talk about the Wolves. Like, clearly Lakers, well, they're fine, but they're not that great. Then you're taking the chance that Laker fans who, like Cowboys fans, right? Like there's clearly a playbook. So it's not like Greedy wakes up and thinks, I want to talk about the Lakers. He's a New York guy. He doesn't give a crap about, but the producers are like, you got to talk about from the Lakers standpoint or the Cowboys standpoint. But yeah, this is just an incredible, like, is your head really so far up your bleep that you like don't like what's happening here?
But do you think, okay, just to play producer for a second here, and I mean, whatever, like these guys have, I'm sure they have data and information, that shows you that if we stay on Lakers, then we get longer retention rates or whatever it may be.
Right.
But isn't another one of the big, I guess, media tropes is to crown someone new, right? Like when someone new bursts on the scene, a Tim Tebow. Or like Jaden Daniels was a huge talker out of nowhere last year around the NFL. Super fun to talk about this new face of the NFL type quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, when he came on the scene with Kansas City, it's not like Kansas City's a big market, but you got this superstar player who's breaking records and putting up crazy numbers. Anthony Edwards is kind of doing that in the playoffs the last couple of years. He's literally knocking off Durant and Booker and Jokic, on the verge of knocking off LeBron and Luka, Western Conference Finals. So at the risk of sounding like flyover country, woe is us, because I don't want to do that either.
Right.
Just to help produce a show here for the national folks, the crowning and the passing of the torch from LeBron James to Anthony Edwards and Kevin Durant to Anthony Edwards is a super compelling big picture NBA story that's being completely missed right now by most people.
From a media standpoint, I think the big boys are the higher ups there would rather play the hits because they know that the hits are going to get audience. I think they're afraid if we go to Ant. Now the one thing, of course, that will transcend it, change this entire story is if Ant wins a championship. Because then it's like you have like now he becomes. I don't think they have the cojones to want to test let's go with the Ant storyline today and let's see how that does, because they know that the Lakers are good. But I'm just saying from like a respect point of view for yourself, when you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, like, are you really surprised that Ant, who a year ago, like, they were in the Western Conference Finals, they didn't win a series, they won 2 series, they beat the Joker. So, but it is funny to watch because the clips on Twitter are hilarious about, let's talk about what's wrong with the Lakers. I got bad news for you. Nothing's wrong with the Lakers.
Well, the Lakers are just incomplete.
Yes, they are what they are. But
they've been incomplete since the day the trade happened.
But these same people, I mean, literally spent a football season breaking down the Cowboys.
Okay, what's wrong with the Cowboys?
Okay, I'll tell you.
Well, they paid their quarterback $60 million, and he ain't that guy. There you go. I mean, Jerry Jones is an old senile weirdo.
Right, but I mean, what's wrong with Cowboys is they ain't that good. Like, and you shouldn't talk about them. So anyway, but your point is right, and Ant deserves that stage, and it's like we're finding him again. We're rediscovering him. Hey, who is this guy? It's the same bleeping guy that got you to the Western Conference Finals last year.
Well, this would be, I think, and again, it's actually great for the Timberwolves to be able to like kind of fly under the radar, play that underdog card, use it as motivation, and it's, I think when it flips, it becomes a little harder. The weight of trying to live up to the expectations that are set becomes a whole new thing. Right now, they're like wildly outperforming expectations because they're the Timberwolves, and I think that's probably the best place for the franchise to be. But yeah, it is. It's just kind of funny to watch everyone go. And by the way, the Lakers, another reason why, how and why is this happening? JJ Redick told you in Game 4 there's only 5 playable players on our roster in the series. In fact, here's another statement with a statement for you guys. When I said Wolves in 6 or fewer because the Lakers only have 6 playable players in the series, I was dead wrong. The Lakers only have 5 playable players in the series. Well, I apologize. I will try to do better with my analysis next year.
And your rankings now have proven to be incredibly faulty as well.
Correct. We are
like
wrong
everyone's
on that
questioning
too.
you right now. We thought you were, a co-host of Flagrant Howls.
Supposed to be on my A game.
Yeah.
And
your rankings off. Your prediction off.
What's wrong with Flagrant Howls?
Here's my statement. Phil Mackey. I don't trust him anymore in basketball.
Oh, man. So, yeah, if you see, for the audience out there, if you see other national media members really going through it, trying to figure out how is this possible, please send us the clips so we can make fun of them.
I have a question for you guys off this series, and more importantly off LeBron. So I'm not saying that what happens in this series, regardless, I'm not trying to count my chickens before they hatch. Timberwolves up 3-1. Hopefully they close us out on Wednesday, if not for Game 6. But I really do not like watching LeBron James play basketball as much as I used to.
Wow.
And my question is the constant bitching at officials, has this gotten to you guys? Like, he's been like this. This is not like necessarily something new. I'm sorry. And maybe it's because of Luka's on his left, who's even worse than LeBron when it comes to babying and officiating. I'm kind of sick of watching LeBron James. I think he's one of the best basketball. He is the best. I remember Michael, but LeBron's really the person that I grew up with and got to watch as a teenager into adulthood. And I don't look at him less, but I'm kind of sick of watching LeBron. That's kind of my statement. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but he hasn't been able to, he wins the COVID bubble championship. He gets paired up with Anthony Davis, but then they're always injured. Now he gets Luka, and they're down 3-1 to the Timberwolves. Like, I do kind of understand national media being like, what the hell is going on here? But for me, I'm kind of sick of watching LeBron James.
Do you think it's like his style, the way he goes about things, or do you think it's just fatigue after 2 decades? Because we've never really. I mean, Kareem played for 2 decades, but it wasn't in the social media era. Like, I guess in the last 20 years, the athlete who's been blasted through TVs and media and social the most has been LeBron. So maybe it's a little bit of LeBron, because I have a great appreciation for how tenacious he is.
For sure.
He's putting up crazy performances for a 40-year-old dude playing in the playoffs after all these seasons. So I have an appreciation for him. He is a lot whinier and more of a complainer than maybe Kobe and Michael. He's not wired that same way. And him plus Luka both whining and complaining after every possession, and then the incredulous look on their face with the palms in the sky. Like, it does get a little bit annoying to watch, so I'll give you that for sure.
Doncic annoys me way more just because everything and I mean, my God, has anybody else while play is going on gesticulated more than Doncic? I mean, he'll literally go down the court with the his face like, what happened, and his arms flailing. Like,
he thinks everyone else is an idiot. He's the most aggrieved player in the NBA. 100%.
So LeBron, Dex, it sounds to me like you're a little bit going, and I don't feel this way yet because he's still, I mean, that Friday night performance was off the charts, but it sounds like you're going a little bit Zolgadian in the passing judgment on an old person thing, which I definitely 100% do if I think you're trying to play while cooked. But Friday night I thought was spectacular. Like, that's he's 40. That was incredible. Like, he put that team on his back. He tried on Sunday. I guess I still have more of an appreciation for his game than I do a disdain. But I hear what you're saying, because I felt that way about certain guys, but usually I just think like they can't live up to who they were, and it becomes pathetic. Obviously LeBron is not there.
Yeah, I think it's probably just the fatigue of it too. He still is a great player. He is not in the Zolgadian, Peyton Manning fluttering football. Like, what the hell are you doing in the Super Bowl situation? He is nowhere near even that. I don't think he's even trending towards that direction yet, which is it's miraculous what he's been able to do at his age. But I just the constant whining and that type of stuff, and not being able to get his teams to where they should be in the last 5 years. I'm sorry, I'm kind of sick of LeBron. I'm ready for the next era. I'm ready for Ant to become the new LeBron.
Dude, but I'm
ready for it.
Hasn't gotten his teams to where they should be in the last 5 years is actually a problem that he created by being this good in an unprecedented fashion in those 5 years of age. Like, there's really no examples of 36 through 40-year-old players being the lead 40 minutes per game, flirt with a triple-double almost every single night guy on a team. I mean, Kobe was shot by 36, 37 with the Achilles. Jordan was so burnt out, he retired at like age, whatever it was, 35 or 36. And there were like Kareem kind of, but Kareem was able to settle in behind like Magic and be kind of a secondary guy toward the end of his career. So I am much more for like a Luka slander party than a LeBron slander party. I mean, it was a terrible trade because they didn't leverage any teams off each other. The Mavericks just like called the Lakers in the dark, got no leverage. It's a bad value trade.
Yep.
But another statement within a statement. I kind of see what the Mavericks, or at least Nico Harrison,
Right.
I kind of see his point a little bit with Luka.
But he
like,
botched
dude,
it.
why are you tired?
Well, and he botched it so bad. Like, it would be different if he had played 5 teams off each other in June or July, right? And gotten a haul back. And by the way, if he could explain it, like he's not exactly a people person. But like if you could explain, hey, there's reasons why we did this, and I'll go through some of them, not all of them, but the Luka thing, and the Lakers just aren't complete. That's the thing. The national media plugged their ears and covered their eyes and wanted to pretend like, well, the Luka trade makes them an NBA final contender favorite. And it's like we looked at this before the season. It's not like we're like, oh, this is surprising. We looked at this before the series started and said, okay, but they got 3 guys. 2 I think have played well, but what are we missing? That's literally what I thought. What are we missing? And then you slept on Ant. In fact, I'm going to pivot to a Wolves statement that I think Phil has come close to before, but I think we can now unequivocally say needs to happen. The next time Phil, Mackey, and Kyle do a flagrant episode with their
later today
top 100 Wolves of all time, Anthony Edwards is number 1.
Wow.
It's done.
Wow,
It's done.
Dude.
Anthony Edwards is number 1. It's done.
Wait. Is your just to dig on this? Is this statement a referendum on what I or Kyle think, or are you saying that you think right now Judd Zulgad he has surpassed Kevin Garnett?
He has now surpassed him.
What?
He has now surpassed Garnett as the greatest Timberwolf of all time.
Do I clip this?
Yes.
He has surpassed.
Clip this. Clip this.
He has surpassed. But I am not passing judgment on your previous incarnations of your top 100 each. Okay. What I'm saying is I have now seen enough to say that Anthony Edwards is the greatest Timberwolf of all time, franchise history, established 1989-90 season, and here's why. Kevin Garnett was a great player, and his 21 should be in the rafters, and he should be brought back, and everything about him was inspiring as a player, I think is safe to say. But look at first of all, KG got the Wolves past the first round once. His teams got past the first round once. They got to the Western Conference Finals. They lost to the Lakers. Unfortunate circumstances that, if you guys recall, is still talked about. Well, if Cassell hadn't got hurt, we think they get to the finals. I am not saying that Anthony Edwards can do this by himself, but I am saying this. He has been to the Western Conference Finals. He is now playing an enormous role. He is playing such a big role in the last 2 games that we literally are talking about supporting cast guys like on Friday night. Jaden McDaniels, who was great. Take nothing away from him. But look at the box score and look at Ant. Look at Sunday's game again. Kevin Garnett, I mean, we could go through this, but KG was a killer. Like, he was a psychological killer. But his game, I don't ever think could do what Ant does. Ant's a killer. And Ant, in the fourth quarter, basically decides, screw it. He said, post-game, what was my mentality? I was going to shoot. He not only shot, he made it. The fourth quarter's nuts. He's doing things that I would argue Garnett did not do, certainly consistently.
As a scorer, for sure.
And he is taking over games to win them. How often, in reality, in huge games, for a team that got past the first round once, they were essentially what the Wild is now, right? We get to the first round, and then once you get past it, Anthony Edwards now is the greatest player in Timberwolves history.
Wow, I didn't realize you were going to bury a lead like this. This is great.
Well, I wasn't going to say this until we started to talk. A lot of times on our shows, like, I'll think of something as our discussions are going.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I had or have a Wild statement, but then we started to talk about this, and it just perked up in my brain that there's no way I can now, in good conscience, say, remember the good old days? These are, as the guy on The Office said, I wish somebody would tell me what I was in the good old days as I was in them. These are the Timberwolves' good old days.
I think what I've kind of said throughout the top one, because we've done a couple different top 100 updates in the past 12 months, And this question has popped up. Like Kyle posed the question maybe a year ago after they went to the Western Conference Finals. And he posed the question, like, at what point do we consider moving Anthony Edwards to number 1? And I said, well, KG has the longevity advantage. I mean, he spent a decade, first run, a decade plus, 12 years or whatever it was. And they both have gone to the Western Conference Finals. I said, so if Ant makes another run back to the Western Conference Finals, and now he's got 2 of those, and KG has 1, if Ant gets an MVP and ties, which he's not going to win this year, I need to see a little more. I certainly need to see them close out the Lakers. But if they do, KG had so many chances with different iterations of rosters to at least win a first-round series. And like you said, they only advanced in the playoffs 1 time in Kevin Garnett's career. This would be the second season before he even hits his prime that Anthony Edwards has helped a Timberwolves team advance. And the guys that he's knocking off, where I will defend KG in a couple ways is his rosters that he had before Cassell and Sprewell. Like, for instance, I pulled up, this is like the 3rd or 4th year in a row that they went to the playoffs, kind of in the middle of that 8-year run of, it was 7 one and dones. And they got beat 3-1 in the first round by the Blazers. So the Wolves were a 50-win team. That was the first 50-win team in franchise history, the 99-2000 Wolves. They were a 6 seed, a 50-win 6 seed because the West was so loaded. Lakers, Kings, that Blazers team. Oh. The Spurs were like in the middle of kind of a pseudo dynasty, but that Blazers team had like Sabonis and Scottie Pippen and Rasheed Wallace and all these guys. So KG went into, like, he's going into these series against the Rockets with Hall of Famers, the Lakers with Hall of Famers, the Blazers with Hall of Famers. And it's Terrell Brandon, who's a good, solid veteran point guard, Kevin Garnett. And then the rest of the players were like young Wally Zerbiak, Malik Sealy, Anthony Peeler, Roshan Asterovich. I think Anthony Edwards has had some really, really good supporting. He's the best player on these teams, but he's had better supporting casts than KG did in some of those days. So that has to be factored in. So I'm not quite there yet, but I applaud your boldness here. I applaud it.
Well, the pelts on the wall thus far for Ant include Durant. Oh, he can't beat KD. No way. Bang.
Yeah.
The Joker, MVP, defending champions, I believe.
Big time.
Correct? At the time. And yes, he got some help. Bang, you're done. And now on the wall, he's going to mount the heads of Luka and LeBron. So
for KG, the only 2 teams he beat in the playoffs were the young the rookie Carmelo Anthony Nuggets and the end of that Kings run with Weber and Stojakovic.
Yep.
And Company, right?
And no slander, by the way. I'm not slander. I mean, I watched KG's entire career. I'm just saying the torch has been passed, in my opinion.
Wow, dude. Wow, this guy. We should get Underdog to put some historical situations on their board. I don't know how we could make that happen, Dex, but let's call somebody. Yeah,
you absolutely can. You can write higher or lower on Underdog, higher, lower Anthony Edwards above Kevin Garnett. The Extender 2 is still going on. And when the Wolves, as I've been saying since draft night, close this out in 5 games and they move on to the second round of the series, the Extender restarts for the Wolves with whoever they get to play. So in game 1 through up to a game 7 situation, you'll get a new profit boost for each game as long as you make a pick'em on Underdog. New users can sign up with promo code SCORE, SKOR, and you'll get to $1,000 deposit match. Go download the Underdog app on the Apple or Google Play Store. Promo code SCORE for a deposit match.
All right. Who wants to step up to the plate next to follow that one the Judd just threw out there?
Who's got it?
Dex?
Now I'm kind of, this is like when someone comes up on you and as you've been waiting to golf all day and I'm going to duff a drive because I have a lifestyle one. I mean, Judd, I know you wanted to go with Wild. I know you dropped the nuclear grenade on us with your Wolves take. All right, I'll give you a lifestyle one that I've been dealing with over the last 48 hours. My statement is I'm glad I'm not in high school anymore. That is my statement, and I'll explain why here. So my brother-in-law, who's a senior in high school right now, my youngest brother-in-law, he's going through the process of asking a date to prom. Oh. And let's just say he wanted some help, and he contacted his brother-in-law to ask him for some advice and some help. Now, I was only able to help so much because the terms of asking someone to prom, in terms of making like a sign, I said, your brother-in-law is horrible at creativeness, so like we need to rope in your sister, my wife, to help make that sign. So since Sunday, we made a sign. We got this elaborate thing, a lot of pressure. I helped him craft the words because she runs track. So I was trying to help him with creative on that stuff. Well, yesterday, he has the sign. So this happens on Sunday night. He goes home. He's going to ask her this week. We get a text message yesterday that says she got asked by somebody else. And I was like, all right, well, hold on. What happened here? Turns out, and man, I really hope this high school friend group is potentially listening to this podcast right now and be airing out more dirty laundry. I don't know if they are. She turns down that guy because she wants to go to prom with my brother-in-law.
Dude, this is like free agency in sports or something.
Yes. So my brother-in-law was so upset at the time, again, and maybe I'm ruining the prom proposal, he throws away the sign.
No!
He threw it away.
No!
And he sends me a text saying, we have to make another one. I said, what happened between you figuring out someone else got asked, you throwing away the sign, and then you realizing that that's not the case? He was like, well, like an hour. And I was like, okay. Turns out the sign actually wasn't bent and wasn't destroyed. So I was like, I think that sign's still fine. It's fine.
There's some
fine.
garbage ketchup stains on it, but we can.
However, looking at the totality of being back in high school and trying to go through all of this, I don't miss it. I don't miss it one bit.
Okay, statement within a statement. There is 100 times more pressure on high school students trying to ask someone to prom than there is proposing for marriage. Because at least when you're proposing for marriage, you're pretty sure that there's not 5 other dudes out there about to beat you to the punch on the proposal. You're pretty sure she's going to say yes, unless you're just oblivious or you're doing it in a stadium and you're insulting her intelligence. But the fact that you need to be creative and come up, because now it's in the social media era, there's all these TikToks and reels on Instagram, the pressure mounting to compare yourself to these other extravagant promposals or whatever they're calling them, right? That, wow, this guy had 150 balloons and a marching band roll up to this gal's house. So what am I going to do? Just walk up and ask a question? The pressure, the fact that somebody might beat you to the punch, it's all just, too much.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm completely confused. So he was going through all this work to make a sign, to have you and your wife help him make a sign to ask a girl to prom who was asked by somebody else, but she wanted to go with your brother-in-law regardless. So once he finds that, I don't know how he found that out, but once he finds that out, he doesn't need the sign. Just go knock on her door, text her, and say we're going to if she wants to go with him
unless she wants a little bit of creativity behind
but she turned down a guy. No, he's got her now because she has turned down a viable option.
He's got the leverage now.
Yeah, well, it's literally she was in the draft and she was going to be drafted. And then she didn't go work out at the combine. She basically told teams, I'm going to decide where I'm going.
She's got a legendary promposal room.
Yes. So
streaming
now
live on Twitch.
So they're going, right?
I think he's asking her today. This has happened in the last 48 hours. This is why, again, I'm glad I'm not in high school to try to figure out the timeline.
By the way, this is just a dramatized reenactment. This is not based on a true story for anyone who may be listening. Yes.
Names have been removed for
protect
clarity.
the innocent. Yep. She forfeited him doing a lot. If she wants the date, take the date.
This is like when the Twins in their drafting, always save some signing bonus so they can give it more to their second round pick. Because sometimes they don't sign the player for the allotted top signing bonus. This is kind of what this reminds me of too. They're using some extra cash here because now they got more leverage to get someone else later in the draft.
I feel like what she should have done was told the guy that asked her before your brother-in-law that she, I don't know, make something up to buy time. Leak it out that she's been asked, so he finds out, gets jealous, and does even.
You get leak it through Schefter or Rappaport.
Yeah, exactly right. Or Glazer.
I feel like that kind of happened. I feel like that kind of.
But she turned him down.
She turned the first guy down.
No, I'm saying she's got to put that guy on layaway so that he's a viable option.
I don't think she even wants him, the first guy, as a viable option.
Well, then she's compromised.
Yeah, but to Judd's point, even if you don't want the other team, you should probably keep that team on ice for leverage purposes. You know?
Do you know what she did? She Luka'd the trade. She Luka'd the.
Yeah, she didn't play the market the right way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, this is you know what? This is a great, if that were my daughter, this is a great learning experience. Like, this is not how to be.
Sports can teach us a lot of lessons.
This is not how to be successful in real life. I feel like if you're going to just, because now everybody knows the price of poker. That's no good. I mean, Phil will tell you he's a poker guy.
That's right.
But great story, Dex. That's a really interesting. I love that.
It was quite the transition from your hottest take potentially of the year of Anthony Edwards, Kevin Garnett, into high school prom proposals. I don't think any of us had either of those on the.
We didn't do signs.
Statements, but
I also love how Judd doesn't even need to see the rest of the series play out. That this is. What if they lose the next 3 games? Are you moving him back beneath Kevin Garnett?
Oh, I don't. No, because I don't think he's going to. Well, one is the Lakers don't have the horses now, I don't think, to win 3 consecutive games. But more importantly, I don't think Ant's going to choke.
Yeah, I think there's a better, like I said yesterday, I think there's a better chance they win going away in Game 5 than this gets to a Game 7.
The only way a week from now I would consider the statement I just made a big mistake is if Ant literally chokes, and he's just not really a choker.
Yeah. Well, look at that. That's the wide range of things we give you here.
Kids, always keep options. Options open. High school kids, if you're watching us, keep options up. Do not close doors. Even if you don't want what's behind door 2, act like you might.
Keep your options open. Keep that leverage. That's right. Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd.